Hello and welcome to the Bellcast, episode 17 apparently. Thanks, Will. This is Lorenzo. We don't say our brands anymore, right? Do we need to?
Bellcast.
That's
the
it.
brand.
We're totally. Okay. So Mike, how are you? What did you do all week, last week, and the week before that? Every day, give me 10 minutes on the go.
See, this is Lorenzo, because we're having a debate on the length of the intro, so maybe we can get feedback.
Let's talk about this right now.
See, I like a short intro. I'm bringing in the important people, our guests. Lorenzo likes to talk about himself for 15, 20 minutes, and that's the challenge we're having right now.
Well, if I recall, every episode I'm asking you guys to please ask me once how I'm doing. So I don't know how I could riff for 15
How
minutes.
you doing, Lorenzo? How's it
Oh,
going?
screw off. So, yes, you want to hash it out for 2 minutes?
Yes.
We'll do 2 minutes. Okay. So my argument is that when a guest comes on for the first time, most people have not sat at a podcast in front of video, and by us making fun of each other and doing everything that sets a comfort level for that guest for 5 minutes, you being Canadian,
Always
Right
comes
to the
back.
point.
want to go right into the hello, welcome to the Bellcast, blah blah blah. Our guest is
No foreplay, those Canadians. I heard.
they leave the garage door open in Florida. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
What you okay, Kevin? The podcast is not happening. We're just having a conversation. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
He does look like he should have a big, robust voice, right?
He does, yeah. We'll work on that.
Yeah, no,
It's only episode 17.
I got a man up. Yeah.
Okay, so last week you guys did an episode. I was not around. We can talk about that a little bit later. How did that go?
I think that was
All right,
yeah,
easy
I
now,
think-
easy.
I think we found something there.
Yeah, I think there was some magic going on. I think there's a total spin-off.
Again, I'm not trying to get what your personal lives are going on between the two of you. What I'm asking you is about the podcast. How did the podcast? Oh, you meant the podcast.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
Okay, Kevin, that's the microphone.
I like it.
This is great, Mike, because you know why it's all on video? He's getting zoomed in on it, so now we
This
can
is training.
see.
Yes, this is good.
Did you look at the video, Mike, of any of the videos?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable with myself in certain parts. I'll be
Yeah, but I think everybody is. I'm uncomfortable with my voice in the first place.
I hate my voice.
You don't like your voice.
Video, I hate it.
I'm back and forth, biting my fingers, but I think that's just, I guess that's how I move my hands around, and I guess I don't realize it. And then I said, well, I guess I've been doing this for a while now, so what's the big deal?
Right.
Yeah.
We should ask our guest how they feel being on camera.
Yes?
We have a guest.
Oh, wait. Oh, Will, how are you? Oh, no, sorry. What was that? Brian, welcome to the podcast. All right, this is the first moment you're going to say something. So say something profound.
Something profound.
You said something
I
profound.
gotta say that. I think
Well, you
I'm
did
doing
a great
okay
job.
right now.
How are you, Brian? How are you?
I'm feeling quite glorious right now because the sun's shining finally.
Okay. Yes, this is true. You are part of the. What's the official name of it?
So I am part of Fresh Markets, which is a series of farmers and makers markets, and we run a market here at Bellworks called Bellworks Fresh.
Yes, Wednesdays, right?
Every single Wednesday.
Obviously, if you're listening to this, you've seen it, been to it.
Hopefully liked it.
Yeah, is it gonna be an ongoing thing? I know it started out as like a pilot thing. Is it gonna be now religiously every Wednesday?
Yeah. So we started at the end of May last year for a 14-week trial run to see how it would go, and it took off almost immediately. The summertime it was packed here, so we got the okay to extend it through the fall. Did a holiday market series here, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was packed. I think we had about like 55 vendors during the holiday markets, and then we took 6 weeks off, let people recover from spending lots of money during the holidays, partying too much, and then kicked back in at the end of January, and we've been going ever since, and yeah, made it a year-round thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I've been to the one in Asbury. You guys.
Yeah.
So I'll say
Asbury Fresh.
Yeah, Asbury Fresh. So yeah, so you guys do the one, in Asbury outdoors,
Mhm.
and then you have this one indoors. So when's the one in Asbury? Is it consistent as well?
So Asbury Fresh is an outdoor season, so that runs for 6 months out of the year. So we actually just kicked off this past Sunday on Mother's Day. And it kind of sucks because we had a lot of rain, a lot of wind, so only 2 vendors set up, sold out of their trucks, and then took off after a few hours. But yeah, that's actually the first market we started in 2012. Started with about 4 vendors in the park, and I think like 3 years later exploded to about like 60 vendors. in
Yeah.
Kennedy Park.
Yeah, that was the show.
And what was the idea behind it? I mean, what was the reason you wanted to start it?
So actually, I'm not the founder of Fresh Markets. That's Brett.
Oh, I'm
Morgan.
sorry.
Yeah. You might want me to leave here. Yeah, but I have a really fun story
About Brett?
I got a lot of dirt on
Oh,
him.
okay.
Yeah. Just see me at any of them
We'll get
the
into
markets,
that.
and I'll fill you in. But I have a fun story of how I got started. So Brett Morgan's the founder of Fresh Markets, and this started, he and his two business partners, Danny Crow, Greg Edgerton, they have a bunch of different companies. 2 co-working locations in Asbury Park, Bands on a Budget's a branding company, Humble Humans, that's web development, and Fresh started off as just a little side project, and then it exploded. I started off as a vendor myself about 6 years ago, and eventually, I think like 3 seasons in, they traded me free space for interviewing and photographing other vendors for their online blog. I became friends with most of the vendors because I would show up with a 30-pack of beer and just start throwing beers out to everyone.
Brian,
and
you would show up with what?
A 30-pack of beer and
And
just
today you showed up with one Booskadoo
a cup of tea. Yeah.
You see the problem we're having here.
Episode 17, we're out.
Sorry, guys.
Next
Go ahead.
time.
Yeah.
Continue your story.
So I became friends with everyone because, they didn't have any music or anything at the market. So, you're in a park with about 50 other vendors and it's quiet. People are just walking around shopping. I would bring a little iPad with me, play some music, bring some beers, then became friends with everybody. And then alcohol makes friends. And then Brett had approached me and wanted me to interview other vendors, so I started to do that, and then eventually, I think later that winter, he asked if I wanted to take over the whole thing. I said absolutely yes, and so that's what got me here.
Cool. Absolutely, yes, I love that, because most people would be like, whoa, no, like, I don't want to be responsible for the whole thing, but you jumped right in.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
They're comping the beer. That's the.
That was free.
I was like, oh, okay, there's booze involved. I'm in, man. It's no problem.
Are you a surfer, skateboarder? Because I think I saw
Both.
a picture. Okay, all right. I didn't do any recon, just so you so when you started, now that you're here at Bell, had you been to this location? Did you know about it? Because where did you grow up?
So I grew up in North Middletown, and which is about 15 minutes from here.
Okay.
And Kevin and I actually went to high school together.
Yeah.
We graduated from North
You
Middletown.
led beautifully into this.
Yeah, segue.
Well,
You set
Yeah,
them up to
man.
now tee off on me for a good
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm pretty local to the area, and I really didn't know much of the history about the building. When my parents would take my brother and I when we were little to Holmdel Park, I would just remember, all right, we're getting close to the park because we're passing the flying saucer.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I knew about it.
That's probably all anyone knew about it.
You are such a skater. You like to fly. Yo, man, because I used to roll.
Dude.
Yes. So you grew up there. How was Kevin in high school? Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
He was a rock star, I think. Yeah.
Rockstar.
Why I started?
Keep going, man. Keep going.
He wore the same outfits,
Yeah.
very business-like, and
I wore a bow tie.
Briefcase.
You were like Carlton at the,
Oh, yeah.
at the high school. No. Yeah. It's on video, remember, now that you know this.
All right.
How many vendors do you have now at the Fresh? You'd say 50?
At Bellworks,
Yeah.
I have about 50 vendors every week. 50 at Asbury, 40 at Pier Village and Long Branch. We're starting with I think like 30 vendors at the Freehold Raceway Mall. We're going to do a Tuesday night market there in conjunction with their outdoor summer concert series, and then we're also looking into expanding other areas. So we're taking over the world.
So you were just a dude that showed up with some beer, and now you're like a CEFO.
Took it all over, man. Yeah. So
Of life.
I'm like the big green scary guy in Oz, and then you
Yeah.
pull the curtain back, and there's little Brett Morgan who's
Okay.
behind
Well,
the
I've known
scenes.
Brett not well. I've known Brett from Bands on a
Yeah.
Budget.
Sorry, Brett.
Don't worry. The question I had was, as far as here with the vendors and stuff, well, do you think they'll listen to this podcast? Probably not, right?
Oh, when I blast it out,
Oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
play during the
I'm gonna play it through the PA during the market. Yeah.
StreamingLunatic.com provides great development for all trade shows. Thank you. I say that because I come from going to many, many trade shows for many, many years. And when I initially bumped into you, I saw you having a discussion with a vendor. And I'm not trying to get into any detail now,
A
but
good discussion or a bad one?
a discussion that happened. And I wonder how, because this is the details of it, but when you're dealing with trade shows and stuff like that, how do you deal with the proper vendors, the spacing, telling them to come in, where to load in, them sometimes possibly complaining, saying, we had an hour where nobody showed up, and you're saying, well, you've had 7 hours of 9,000 people showing up. Like, this is dynamic.
Totally, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's a lot of juggling, and I think what helped was me being a vendor myself. So I totally get the stress of doing things last second, early in the morning, packing up the car, pulling up to the venue, unloading, all that stress. So I'm pretty thick-skinned, and I get that vendors need to vend, kind of get some stuff out, and then they kind of chill out and can get on with the market. I would say 95% of the vendors that we have are awesome people.
Great answer.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. 95% are awesome. You get some crazy bad eggs. Give them a few warnings. If they just can't get along with everybody with the guidelines, we can give them the boot. And we have a really good online software system that we built where vendors can apply through, and that's how I'm able to pick out, okay, who can we have at this market? I don't want to oversaturate a market. We get a lot of jewelry vendors that apply. There's so many good ones out there.
Right.
But I have to set a limit. I can't have
20 of them.
20 of them, and then it just all blends together, and it's the same, and it's not fair for them. So there's a lot of vetting that I do every single day.
Are there any vendors that you're looking for? Like podcast vendors?
Would love a podcast. I think you guys should come out in the middle of a market one day and just do a live podcast. I think that would be cool.
I have zero issues with that.
Let's set it up.
Yeah.
I know who we can talk to.
We talk-
Set something like
We can get. I'll pull vendors your
You
way.
mentioned you
and-
wanted to do kind of like 1 minute podcasts, do little interviews, man on the street style stuff.
Okay, so yeah.
Let's do it. Let's
Thank
set it
you.
up.
Yeah, see?
Thank you.
Go.
Yes, I did not even think about that. And how did that go when you said you were going to
I
do
love
it?
the idea. I think we both.
No, you were like, I'm going to do it like tomorrow. So
Oh
how'd that go?
yeah. No, I think we're
Not so well?
Not this Wednesday. Maybe next Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So the thought was, 'cause yes, he's right. The thought was that we would spotlight each vendor on the podcast by doing. Well, Kevin was going to go down with the phone and just take like a 2-minute, because I used to do that at the wedding expos. Before the show, I would interview each vendor for 5 minutes. I found that a lot of times it was awkward because they wouldn't know what to say, and then it started getting a little bit to the point. This is the dangerous part. We started doing it as complimentary. Then, like 10 expos later, you put that video up there and you didn't do our video. I'm like, dude, like this is like free. Like we're just doing like give me a.
Trying to be nice.
So you run into that. So with your permission, maybe we could explore that thought.
I would love to have you guys come out, and I'll send only the vendors that will say nice things about me.
Okay.
Yeah, your way.
Well, what do we do after the second?
Also provide beer.
and then yeah. So
After
that'll be
two
a
are
quick
done.
list.
I'm gonna get on video and be like, look, if you do this, Brian told me that it's free next time.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking ballpark what the cost is if other vendors want to come in, or do you?
Yeah, no, that's all on our website.
Okay.
So the rates vary depending on a bunch of different things. Farmers pay the least amount. What they're and we base it off of farmers what they're selling. Yeah.
Chinese vendors that pay
Yeah.
60% more.
Pay up. You're gonna have to let me see what your sales were. Yeah. No, but farmers, they pay the least amount. Food vendors pay slightly more, and then the artists are going to pay a little more, all based off of, all right, how much are, what's their product selling for. Farmers, most of them, they sign up for the entire season, so we offer different rates. If you're signing up for the full season, it turns out to be way cheaper per market date than.
Do they do all the shows? I mean, do they do will they do Asbury and Bell and Freehold and Long Branch?
It's a combination of both. like 50-50, you'll have a lot of vendors that'll bounce around all the different markets, and then some that'll just strictly stick with one particular market, like here at Bellworks. Most of the farms, I would say, stick to one particular market. It's more of the food makers and artists that bounce around. Yeah, but all this can be found on our website at www.asburyfresh.com. And if you're interested in vending, click on the word at the top right that says vendor to get all your details there.
Right. Now, for you, because there's two sides of it, right? You have to get the vendors, then you obviously have to get the traffic coming in. So how do you guys, do you manage both? Do you have anyone else?
Oh, I do it all. So getting the traffic, what helps is a lot of the venues that we partner up with, like Bellworks, they'll help us promote the market too. Like they help heavily promote it to the building, to the public outside. We have a bunch of, for each market, we have an individual Facebook page, Instagram page. I think the Bellworks Facebook page has 8,000 followers on it now. So we're hitting a pretty good audience. And then also word of mouth. So people start hearing about it. This market took off right away. And more people from the outside are coming, which is awesome.
And you have a podcast with 56 subscribers.
We have an awesome podcast here.
Yes.
That's going to be live, talking to 2 vendors.
And video.
Only 2 people that'll say good things about
And I
it.
think my mom has managed to subscribe 4 times. I don't know how, but I think she has. You know when you say, I'm like, oh God, please. I feel like Howard Stern when he talks about his mom. I can't do the voices though. As far as any kind of, are you going to Bellworks in Chicago by any chance?
I was wondering if they were going to ask us about that. As long as the boss was paid for the...
If you could please bring Brian to Chicago, and I'm his personal assistant, so I need to go with him.
Yeah. That'll work out just fine.
Mike, would you like to go to Chicago? You have a business trip to Chicago coming up?
I could schedule one.
Yeah.
Did you see the mock-ups of the building?
Yeah.
It's going to look good.
It's gonna look really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little mad.
Why?
Well, because this is the OG.
No, this is the trial.
This always will be the
Oh, you mean they can't duplicate the magic?
Well, they don't have us, so they can never duplicate that crap.
Exactly.
But if I see a Bellcast podcast Chicago,
Chicago?
Yeah, we better get licensed.
I'm gonna go like straight 80s hip hop, East Coast, West Coast war. Yes.
Do we know what it's gonna be called? Because this was the Bell building, right? And then it's gonna be AT&T.
Well, they're keeping with Bellworks as far as I understand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're keeping the
AT&T
Bellworks brand all the way through.
But he's gonna have to it's a special building. You gotta find that special, unique building. You're not gonna just make it cookie cutter. I don't think.
No,
That's what they want to do.
I think it's a perfect spot, right? So they're in Hoffman Estates, which is I think the same about distance, maybe 40 minutes outside of Chicago, right? It's a big building, it was owned by AT&T. It's like right off a major roadway. I used to pass by it when I
Was it empty for a while?
Yeah, same. I think same deal. AT&T owned it, and it kind of sent, at least past.
For all the rates I pay AT&T, they couldn't afford the building.
Yeah, well, this was in the heyday, right? When you had thousands of people all under one roof, and now that's not the case.
No, we're all in our weird basements.
Collabs and working from home.
Right.
And,
Yes.
It is interesting though, right? Because I had a discussion with someone the other day who said, I didn't know I could come into the building because I thought you just had to work here. So do you guys get that feedback at all?
Every single day. I mean, customers always come in and say, oh God, I didn't know this was open to the public, or I had no idea this was here. I didn't know anything was happening here. So, most of the retail down here started opening up, in the past year and a half, so.
The year, yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed an uptick in mall walkers. The mall walkers in the morning. I can see
Yeah.
they seem to do the laps around, but these floors are tough to stand on.
Yeah, it's all day long, yeah.
Yes, no, I know, you do it.
Yeah.
Frequently.
But I have nervous energy all the time, so I have to constantly bounce around. So for me to sit right now this long is pretty.
You wanna sit on
I'm
the
pretty
chair?
proud of
You wanna
myself,
switch?
but I'm wondering if we could just start
Take a
rolling
lap.
around.
Yeah,
So actually, for me, it works to stand most of the time because I'm all over the place.
I didn't get the rider from you, so I don't know what things you needed.
Green and a standing desk.
Here's what happened.
I'm a little offended right now.
No. Well, part of it is that Mike can attest to this. Is that we have a photographer here today, right? And that photographer comes with a company called Refresh Advertising. Were you alerted that we would be photographed today? I did not wear my Sunday best, I will tell you that much.
Oh, Guns N' Roses is not your Sunday?
No, contrary to what you think, no. It's my Sunday comfortable. Kevin, however, is in his communion suit, basically.
You know what? Your jeans do not have any tears on. I think for Lorenzo.
No, actually,
this is pretty good.
Lorenzo.
Yes.
Yesterday,
You have
I
your
was
standard.
OG.
You were.
Okay, so.
You were done up yesterday and that's that. So I look like an oddball. So.
Do you have a dancing shirt?
A dancing shirt?
Dancing.
Dancing? What
D-A-N.
What
I'm
is
sure.
dancing?
The band Dancing?
I don't know this band.
Okay. You will look it up. D-A-N-Z-I-N.
Okay.
Mother.
Oh, mother, tell your children not to walk my way.
You knew it, right? Yeah, this is the
That took a second.
That's okay, that's okay. We work with skateboarders too. As far as, so you said Chicago, you'd love to go there, but Keyboard has one. Are you thinking of going, like, North Jersey doesn't seem to have this market style as much as Central and South Jersey.
No.
No farmland, right?
We've farmers will go to they'll
No, but
travel
there's actually
though.
no farmland. Like I'm from Bergen County.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, it's highways and malls.
Yeah. But I mean, there's not too many farms out this way. You know, a lot of our farmers actually come from West Jersey, so they'll make the trip up there. You know, if there's a good market up there. And once we started this market, this really put us on the map here at Bellworks. So a lot of people have been coming in and saying, "Oh my God, this building's insane. This market's awesome. Can you bring this, you know, to my mall?" We've had a few different malls come out and ask us if we could bring something over to them. Freehold Raceway Mall, we're going to be doing that.
In the parking lot or in the mall?
Right on the patio area, right by the
Next to
apple
Applebee's.
bean and the
Right,
cheesecake.
next to Applebee's.
What's the Applebee's? I'm trying to remember where they are, but over by the Yellow Bean
Okay.
store. Yeah, so we'll be set up out there. And if all goes well, we're going to move inside and do a year-round thing there.
Okay.
We went out to a mall out in Pennsylvania, a couple places, a developer out in who's got some high-end luxury buildings in New York asked if we could come out. Brett wants to say yes to everything. I say to Brett, "You're going to kill me because it's me going all over the place." I did get to hire 2 people, thank God, but let's go slow and steady right now.
You're going to every single one, so you're
Yeah.
going to be booked up 7 days a week at farmers markets.
Yeah. Lots of coffee. Yeah.
So, yeah, we always talk about hiring here because we all have our own businesses. So who are the first 2 hires in your space?
Yeah, so
The one that took all the complaints.
The one that yeah. I'm giving them all the horrible
Yes,
jobs.
there you go,
Pam Flores, she's awesome. She's actually a singer-songwriter and has performed at Fresh Markets before. She's really great. And she's Asbury Park based. And then there's Michelle Pappas, who occasionally is a vendor at Asbury Fresh. She's the button pusher. Did you guys go to the Mardi Gras event here?
I was here, yeah, for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was in the corner by the Bell Market making the buttons, and you know, you can flip through old magazines, vintage. She'll put out vintage Hustler magazines that you can look through and say, "I want this."
I live in vintage and I have them in my house.
Like a nipple. Yeah. Sorry, dude.
No, I didn't use Hustler. I didn't get it.
But that's So that's her business. Yeah.
Kevin, nobody can hear you. I shut your mic off.
thanks.
But they're 2 cool people. So they're helping. You know, Pam naturally is going to help book all the music, the live music, and Michelle's coming in with more activities and such, just to add more value to the markets.
Okay. And are you guys doing all your promo through social right now? Or?
Most of it through social media. Yeah. We do some ads to the Tri-City News. Where else? We do a lot of print collateral, so there's lawn signs that I get out at 6 in the morning and stick all over Holmdel and Keyport, Middletown, you know, try to beat the rush hour traffic.
You
so
put one
they're
on
not
my front
yelling.
lawn.
Yeah.
I'm in Keyport,
Yeah. Oh, they're out there.
Yeah, no, I know. They have the Fugazi.
I think they have like
Thursday.
a Saturday or
No,
a
it's
Thursday.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's good stuff, but it's small, you know.
Yeah.
But that waterfront is looking for something, so please, feel free.
Gotcha.
Kind of selfishly, I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of catch up. What the hell you been doing with yourself the past 20 or so years since
Little
we
bit
met?
of that.
This is yours.
Yeah.
We're going to chat a little bit in the coffee shop, which we said, let's leave it for the podcast.
So we just stayed quiet, held hands, and walked this
Kumbaya.
way.
Did you guys
Let's
have
save
like
that
a
for later.
reunion or whatever?
It's close. We were just talking about that. It's coming
It would be
close.
this fall, yeah, 20-year.
Clearly, neither of you are involved with it.
Yeah, we're not on the planning committee for that one.
No, okay, so.
I think this place is kind of a reunion because there's a lot of people that we went to high school with that work out of here.
Yeah, I see people all the time. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
very cool to see you as well. Yeah. So we graduated, right?
We
And then-
graduated, yeah, by the skin of my teeth. And what have I been up to? Mainly for the past 15 years, I got into working in the social work field. I was running a work readiness program for a couple different nonprofits where we would partner up with different districts, different programs that would support kids with disabilities, special needs, and at-risk youth. So I would go in, find out what their interests are, and expose them to different types of entry-level jobs, they get as a teenager, and then what kind of career jobs are out there, take tours, let them job sample, things like that. And it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. I was all over Central Jersey, and I guess about 6 years ago, I started getting into the markets. I would take old wooden doors, turn them into bookshelves, coffee tables, things like that. Once I took over the markets, because of the background that I had, I just thought, wow, this is an awesome, awesome place to get kids exposure to what they can do out there in the world besides the typical, 9 to 5, and there's just so much
Blue collar, like working with your hands type logic?
all sorts of stuff. I mean, kids can learn about
commerce, it teaches
farming.
them everything.
Exactly. All the crafting, all the woodworking that's there, the jewelry makers, wellness practitioners, musicians that we have come in. I mean, it was so much to expose kids to. So I was like, I want to start a program like this for Asbury Fresh. And I ran into a guy, Charles Rosen, who is the founder and owner of Jersey Cider Works, which they produce and distribute ironbound hard cider.
Yeah.
So funny enough, he's an awesome dude. He wound up sponsoring a work readiness program so the kids could get paid to work at the markets, and
Okay.
I get a bunch of different kids from Asbury Park to come in and help us with the market. It was cool, and they got all that exposure. It was funny that their sponsor was an alcoholic beverage, so they had T-shirts that they would wear. So we had to change it to Ironbound Farms. That's the farm program instead of hard cider. I can't really have 16-year-olds running around with
Hard cider
T-shirts
shirts.
supporting booze.
Yeah.
But listen, in the end, the kids got paid, they got exposure, and it was pretty cool.
All right.
Nice.
The social work that you did, was that with DIFUS or was that before that?
No. That one nonprofit was Bridges to Employment. They're based out of Raritan, New Jersey, and then Allies. They're based out of Hamilton, and so that was their home base, and then I would just travel around Central Jersey.
I was gonna say, we were talking actually upstairs, I think it was yesterday, just internally, that it's so, nowadays you don't learn anything really of value for, just living in school. You don't learn, it came up because it was about how to change a tire, right? You don't learn how to change a tire or how to, to manage debt, or to do your taxes.
To stay out of debt?
Stay
Like,
out
don't
of
go to
debt.
college?
Don't don't go.
I'm doing that, so
Don't go 200, 300K in the hole, so it's
absolutely.
cool. There's so much things, even just taking a look at the market just for an afternoon, seeing all the people and their different ways to be creative, and even down to what do you use for transactions, right? You use Square. How do you run your your day-to-day business? There's a lot to learn.
There's so much, for kids to learn here, and at the markets. I actually partnered up with the high school. They started sending students out for volunteer hours, so they'll come in, and then I'll have them help the vendors during breakdown when they have to bring all their stuff to the end of the building because it's such a far walk. Where at the vendors we have the most in shape vendors ever because of
My man, I've done weddings, shows for 15 years at every venue in New Jersey.
Yeah.
This walk?
It's insane.
No.
Oh, it's nothing. Okay.
Nah, dude.
This is like walk to
Nobody-
school,
yeah,
5 miles each
no
way,
shoes,
no shoes.
4 steps, 1 path, straight, no chance. So
Yeah.
I'm bringing it back to reality. No,
I need to have you during load-in so you can tell the vendors what the new ones.
I tell people, like, when they do the backdrops of the trade shows, when people are walking by, right? So
Yeah.
I've looked, and you do something that's very well. The path for people to walk through is very tight.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you make it too wide, people walk down the middle. But when the path is close, they have to go to each vendor.
Mm-hmm.
What I have noticed is the vendors, they all put their brand and their logo up top. Nobody knows what that means, nobody gives F.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do up top is put what you do, and then they'll come to you and the brand is secondary. So if anybody ever asks, like, that's what they should do, because people look up, they don't know how to look at your eyes, they're not sure what you do, it's awkward. So when it comes to the marketing of that tight, narrow way for people to walk, which you do, which is great, but also the vendors sometimes, and I know some of them are farmers markets and they're not, it's like a wedding expo per se, where everybody is a little bit more on the high end side, but when it comes to the branding and stuff like that, to see what you do or what you provide rather than your name, the name is secondary in this case. But yeah, no, that load-in, there's one load-in that I used to go to Skylands in Randolph. It's a big, huge, like 20 by 20 flat piece of platform wood, like the old castles and toys that you lift up the crank and the elevators on the outside of the building. That's what it is. So we load on and the whole platform goes up 2 flights. There's no security, there's no nothing.
Controlled
It's
chaos.
a disaster. So from what I've been told, I stopped a year ago, that they are fixing it and putting a fence or a gate around it. If it's raining, like, you're screwed. So
You know, they just
tell them to call me if they complain.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to get you in on
You need a
this.
market consultant, by the way. Lorenzo's giving discounts to anyone who hears the podcast.
I'm not giving discounts. There's a 20% increase promo code, however, just for the knowledge I'm stealing. So no college after high school? Based on your...
For me, okay, yeah.
You said
so,
skin of my teeth, so...
So yeah, no, I did go to Brookdale. It's, what do they call it? The best 2-year college and one of the best in the nation, I
Kevin
think.
told you went to Randall.
So that's why I went for 10 years.
You got kicked
Because
out?
yeah.
My man!
Yeah.
You know, in Tommy Boy, it was a lot of people go to school for 7 years. They're called doctors. What must I pick?
You're a doctor or something, right?
Yeah, Doctor of Madness,
Okay.
chaos. Yeah, so I went on and off. It's Brookdale forever, but I walked in at 18, and I swear to God, out on my 28th birthday.
No shit.
The day I turned 28 was when I walked out, so it was kind of funny to be,
Were you
exactly
taking
in there.
history?
I think I took everything,
Yeah.
and
That's good.
finally just got out of there.
You probably got more out of your degree than any normal 4-year college.
Yeah, and not a ton of debt, which is awesome. And so, so I did that. I was doing the nonprofit stuff for forever.
Do you work in restaurants at all?
Yeah, I worked in some restaurants, the Cove and Seabright. I don't know if you remember that place. Kind of hidden bars in the Highlands. Any restaurant I ever worked in was a seafood restaurant, and I hate seafood. I don't know how that happened, so,
Sort of like how every college you don't want to go to.
But you go to it, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, that's it. And got myself into a bunch of fun little adventures, traveling and stuff. And here I am with you guys.
Very cool. Any good traveling spots? Because we talked to, we had Casey on, right? She spent 2 years in Sweden,
Yep.
right? So,
And California.
yeah, California. So,
Any, or you Jersey?
Let's see. Outside the country, well, I have a buddy. Do you remember TJ Murray from high school? Yeah. So he lives in the Dominican Republic now with his wife and daughter, and he's been there for about 15 years. No, not that long. About 12 years now. And so I love going down there because I get to see all the ins and outs of the island, and we really get into some crazy adventures there.
Like what?
Oh man, so.
Can I find it on Craigslist or?
Yeah.
No? Okay. No, you don't have to.
I was like, I'm looking at the camera. I was like, well, how much detail can I go into? And
We'll wait till after
this
you
is how appropriate.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. So Italy was great. Went there. I'm actually going to. I'm like, hey, how do I get out of this one right now?
I'm from Italy. That's not gonna get you out of anything.
Yeah.
Good answer. A good question, Kevin.
And I'm actually going to France and Spain in October. My mom won. It was some kind of charity event, and she put a ticket in for a raffle and won an 8-bedroom Airbnb in the Pyrenees in France. So we're gonna do a little family trip out there in October, so I'll go hang out with them for a few days and then just rent a car myself and bounce around Spain and get in some trouble there.
That's cool. I did that in Ireland.
Yeah.
Just rented a car and drove around. Did the.
What happened, Kevin?
We
Lean in a little to that microphone.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I went with a girlfriend at the time. We just,
Oh, even better. Yes, please.
Not
more.
my fiance.
You don't
Turning
know
red.
that. I want to know more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So
No,
how you
it
go?
was-
Let's love this.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
You open your mouth. I didn't ask you this. Sorry, Brian.
No,
I'm just
okay,
talking
good,
about-
let him
I'm
do
just
it.
saying, getting in a car and driving around the country is probably one of the coolest ways.
That's cool, yeah.
So, more power to you for doing that. You gotta, get out and sport. Don't do the stereotypical, places.
You try to transition out of this
I'm
shit
trying
so
to get the
quick.
hell out of here so quick.
So 8 days in Ireland, driving around.
You're really gonna
Yeah.
dig even harder.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen this podcast
So,
before?
I-
I know this. I'm not even looking at
I
it.
will.
He
I
knows.
will transition though, because that was 6-7 years ago. That was
Yeah.
actually the last vacation I went on.
Yeah.
And now I'll be going on my honeymoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Where are you going?
Mexico.
Ireland with the girlfriend, or is it? How does that work?
Mexico.
Mexico.
Mexico with the wife.
Yes, we've had to block out those dates.
Yes.
Mike and I will be doing a podcast.
You hold down for that
Yeah.
one come August. Nice.
Yeah, hopefully it's still here when you come back. It
Yeah.
should be.
Yes. By the way, everything is on YouTube now. So if you're listening, please go to thebellcast.com. You can find the links. And if you want to be a guest on the show, this is like a promo for ourselves within it. info@thebellcast.com. We are booked until almost the end of September.
Yeah.
We have a live studio audience today. And if anybody wants to know about podcasting, just hit us up and we'll be happy to talk about it.
Yeah. I think
Well,
we.
plus the live podcasts at the market that are going to be going on.
Yeah,
At the
that's
market.
gonna start
happening,
That's
absolutely.
We'll do a live one downstairs, right?
So how Ireland? That went well?
No, but we did. I'm transitioning the hell out of that.
Okay.
No.
Your wedding? Okay, let's go. How's that going?
No, what we wanted to do, right, when we first started this podcast, was we wanted to kind of get everyone from the building involved, not only in this podcast, but, spawning other podcasts, right? And then kind of put them under an umbrella. So at one point, you can go to the Bellworks website, or you can go to our website. We're happy to bring, post up anyone's podcast from the building, where you can kind of go and you can see the community, right? You want to learn about one of the businesses, what's going on, you pop into their podcast, you listen for a little bit, you get kind of an inside, behind the scenes look, and you want to know what WorkWave's doing, you listen to their podcast. You want to know what someone's building out of the collab, you listen to their podcast. So it's, I think just like you kind of are creating a community, with each of your events, we're trying to do that same thing here with podcasting. So.
With a mini podcast underneath it of all the vendors from
just a mini one.
Bell, we have a couple of new podcasts that are simmering. Some of them are here. They're going to have probably 10 episodes within the next 45 days. Yes, okay. Agatha from StopIt is here, and I spoke to Emily from something financial, but she didn't show up. So, and Will, how you doing, buddy? You better here?
I'm great.
Just pop into the camera. Just put your hand there for a second.
Wave.
There you go. All right, buddy.
I'm great.
And Will works for you.
Yeah. We'll just come on. This is
Is he going to be here every week, like
Nah, I just
Jim
wanted
Kimmel's
to-
sidekick, wherever he's there? Guillermo, yes.
No, I just wanted to meet everybody.
Oh, it's not going to be every week.
No.
I mean, it's fine, but it's,
No, I don't care.
okay. He can be a stunt double.
Sit
Sit
and
in for
watch.
you.
This is the second day. First day he spent, having lunch and then driving Teslas
Right.
beside the Bell. And
Yeah.
today he's sitting in on a podcast.
I'm actually going to throw something out right now, and I think Agatha should be the fill-in for Kevin when he's gone.
I'm on it.
I'm game.
There's Agatha, yeah. People think I'm talking. She's filling in for you.
All right.
See, I'm not going to do what you guys did to me and just throw me under the bus for that episode.
We
Right
felt
away.
that no one could take your place.
Oh, you're so.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right, but that's besides the point. Mike, how you doing?
Doing well.
All right.
Doing well. I didn't get a chance to drive a Tesla.
Oh, you did?
I did not. My
Oh,
wife
you
did.
Yeah.
I was holding.
Of course.
I was
You
just
helped
driving.
you helped the kids and she took off in the
That's
car.
right.
Mike's standing there in the front with the two kids, and she has gone to California.
Yeah. But I'm a big fan. I'm glad that they came here, actually. It's a pretty good fit, I think, for the building. But you and Will and the rest of your staff drove Teslas yesterday?
Yeah. Lauren drove the S, and then we all hopped in the X, which is the SUV version, and we did kind of a hands-free drive around the building. We checked out the acceleration, really cool. And the guy, they didn't have it on these models, but the guy was saying how they have it's a $6,000 upgrade, but it can pick you up. You can do it like a valet. It'll come pull out of the parking lot, come pick you up. Here, it'll go drive itself. You can punch in coordinates, and it'll totally drive itself. And he said that the next evolution of it is that people will use their cars to make money. So you're basically, your car becomes the Uber. And you're in here in the office, and while you're here earning your paycheck, your car is out there earning its paycheck. Taking people for routes like a taxi.
I feel like Will Smith or Matt Damon should be in the car, like something futuristic, like one
Yeah,
of those,
right.
like there should be like a
Robot.
cutout of his face in the
Yeah.
front or something like that.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I like it. I think we need those for the vendors because now they're complaining about the trip. Oh, you can just hit the button, the car picks you right up.
Yeah,
over
brings
around.
them right over.
Something miniature that they could load right inside the building and they come over. That's genius. Now, does it talk to you, the car, at all? Does it have, I mean, the car can now drive itself, but what does
That's
the
the
voice sound
relationship
like?
upgrade.
Like, yeah.
You gotta pay
Does it-
extra for that one through Max.
You can choose male, female, British,
Yeah.
accent,
No, but
whatever
I
you
feel
want.
like, does it have a voice that
It
speaks
has
to
some
you?
kind of
And
voice, your typical stuff, but no, not really a conversation. It must have some kind of ambient listening though, because I know that it'll pick up, you don't have to give a prompt word, like, Siri, you do this. That's gonna screw up everyone's day. Siri, turn on rock music, but,
Can't put into Lorenzo mode right there, because I'm rolling with the dick right now.
Sorry, yeah.
It's amazing. They just shut off our podcast. You didn't screw them, you screwed us.
Sorry.
Alright,
But yeah,
first time.
I think it listens because you don't have to say any words. You can just talk to it, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
do. It'll take your commands if you want to play music. So there is that interactivity. I just don't know if it's talking to you saying, "Oh, let's give you directions," or show the latest
This
restaurant.
reminds me, I use, well, most of us probably use the Waze app. And in the very beginning, it was very big, was have the celebrity voices that you could do it, right? So,
Morgan Freeman, right?
Cartman from South Park was great. But the funniest one was George W. Bush. Because in Jersey, you have the jug handles. So whenever he would say, you have to bear left, I can't do the accent or anything, but he would be like, you have to bear left, like a bear, like roar, but like a bear, roar. Oh, I like bears. And it was like, I was hysterical. I was going right and left just to hear that shit over. And I'm like, this is the president. Well, today's, anyway, we won't talk about that. Yes, so Tesla, I had driven in one of the guys in the non-bougie collab has a Tesla. He left the collab now, but he took me around here at night, and I don't know, the pickup on it was ridiculous,
It'll
right?
smoke my car.
Yeah, and it felt like it was the iPad or whatever in the middle, right? But the pickup on it was ridiculous.
It's electric.
I'm not a car person, but
It's four-wheel drive and it's electric, so it's instant power.
yeah.
I think even some of the models over there, it's like 518 horsepower. I don't know. It's kind of an equivalent thing.
That means nothing to me, but it sounds good.
Fast.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, I like those
very-
words.
very quick.
Slow, fast, and
Very
super
quick.
fast.
Yeah, an electric car would beat a gas car off the line any day of the week.
How long is the charge on it, or did you?
I think it was 250, like 300 miles, and then they had that extended range, which we were actually joking about.
Is there any gas in it for backup or no?
No.
Okay.
These
I think so.
are straight up. The Teslas are straight up electric. They have like a range extender that you can buy. It's like an option. It's all software. So
Is it
they
like
can do
the
upgrades.
like the Wi-Fi extender like that?
Yeah, well, like they'll give you an extra 100 miles of, I think something like 80 or 100 miles of distance, and you have to pay extra for that upgrade.
How much is a Tesla to walk into?
The 3 is 35,000.
So that's how they
But
make
they
it.
get
'cause
expensive.
They're like
Yeah.
Apple. They nickel and dime you with all the upgrades to
The
get
X,
to
the
60.
X, they said the base was 80,000, and then plus all the upgrades, and then the S is.
And then if you go to that the performance, the PD version, it can go up, I think 130K.
I bought a brand new Subaru Impreza 4 months ago. It's the first new car in 15 years.
I love that car.
I know this episode sounds like it's brought to you by Tesla. This could be a new source of income, right? It could be native advertising.
I think
like this.
I heard a rumor that they're coming here though, right? Is that why they're doing
Oh, really?
this? I
Is
heard
that
they're gonna
pilot?
put a showroom.
I heard they're going in the market.
Yeah,
it's gonna be our new vendor that's coming in. Yeah,
I heard that they're going to be on they might be on the first floor.
We're doing the podcast in the Tesla, driving around.
driving around the market. Yeah.
Drive around the inside.
Will is taking photos today or no? Did he?
Yeah, why not?
Do
Okay.
they let you go off the property with this, or do you have to stay within?
We went.
Stay in the loop?
Yeah, we did.
By the way,
Mine's wife is
it's
still
a good-
driving around.
It's a good question. Are these legal roads? Because I was up on the
Yes.
5th floor the other day,
Mm.
and I'm looking down, and someone was driving a Porsche around, and they were ripping down and circling around, like floored, and I'm wondering if this...
Holmdel
if you could
Police
get
has
pulled
monitored.
over.
No, Holmdel Police has given many tickets.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
Well, if you go out of lot 4, or the side where, not Iceland, where Guardian is, there's that weird little half turn where you can only come into it. They were giving people tickets that were going, because I've done it late at night, but during the day, because they fixed the signs, they were giving tickets for people going through that.
That must be new though, because like
This happened like 3 months ago.
because we did in the fall.
The residents have been complaining.
Well, we did a commercial in the fall, and we just got the okay from like the building and from security. We never went to Holmdel, and I guess it was maybe not roads, but you know.
Well, it's done privately through to Holmdel, but the residents here were complaining about the speeding that was going on here.
Because what was was it a Charger that you guys had? What was
We
it?
had a Mustang GT,
Oh,
a
that's
GT
right.
350, and we were all in certain spots. We had a driver, we had an actress driving for a bit, and we had we were doing camera shots like side by sides and stuff. And if this was a real road, shit.
That was the reason for hence the complaints from
This
the
is getting
residents.
too car light for me. Can we talk about Disney?
Yeah. Disney.
Can we go back to Brian, by the way, the guest of honor
Yes.
here?
Oh, that's all right.
Brian, what are your feelings on Disney?
Disney. We
Lorenzo
did.
just got back from Disney.
I saw that you were away. You had a good
Oh.
time. I did a
Talk
little.
about Disney,
I did
Brian.
a little research
Come on,
myself.
stop.
What happened in Disney? Speaking of Disney, a few weeks ago we had an artist come out here who Michael Kwan, who's he did a live painting during the market, and his father's 106 years old, still alive, and was one of the original cartoonists for Dumbo and Fantasia, which was pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I met, funny enough, Michael Kwan last night for the first time. I was
Okay, that's all right.
I'm like, this sounds familiar.
Wow.
He said that his father's the either the oldest living or the last living original animator on the original Dumbo.
And Fantasia. Yeah.
It's really cool.
He was one of the he did the mushrooms in Fantasia. I don't know if I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't watch that? You don't,
I
No,
remember-
I'm laughing. You said mushrooms,
You know-
and I didn't
you
think
know how
actually going to go with
you
mushrooms.
know how much you smoke and then you watch that
I
movie?
know.
Oh my
How many mushrooms?
God.
How many mushrooms did you do with your family at Disney?
So on the third day in Ireland, what did you do?
Yeah.
There's no Airbnb. Where did you? Okay.
With the girlfriend.
Well, Disney was lovely.
I've never been to Disney World.
I had
Wow.
never been to Disney either.
Oh, you
I have
So
no
then-
desire to go to Disney World.
I had no desire to go to Disney either.
What made you go there? Kids?
My man, you are clearly not married.
Living the
You have no
life
kids.
right now.
But it's like, it was. I feel like I have to shorten it up. Mike has pressured me into going back to Brian, so I want to bring Brian in right now. So, Brian, let's talk it out together in Disney. So we're I didn't know what to expect, right? So everything I've heard was the cleanliness of Disney, 100% true. I guess because I grew up with a lot of people who are Disney fanatics, I had a high expectation of it. I was there 8 days. Don't hold that against me. My plan was 4, and then management took over, and it became 8 days. Got there on a Saturday, whatever it was. We had one thing scheduled. It was 6 o'clock dinner. Totally effed that up. Missed it. Didn't go. Next day, first day, Magic Kingdom. Resort Wilderness Lodge. If you're going to go to Disney, I can't compare it to anything else, but I can tell you a fantastic resort. Absolutely fantastic. Just the whole experience there was great. Many pools, many bars, many restaurants, all that stuff. First day we get there, we go to Magic Kingdom. Didn't enjoy it too much. It was okay.
This isn't about you though. How did your daughter? How did your daughter enjoy it?
At one point in time, I think he left the kids home.
No. First off, I will let my daughter have an opinion, of course. She wasn't, no.
She was thrilled.
When I say she wasn't thrilled, it's ridiculous to say she was at Disney.
It's Disney.
It's just, the rest of the
this is
week.
so boring.
No, it wasn't like that, right? But here's the mistake that we made, which would have made it a better experience that day. The first ride we went on, or I didn't go on, my wife and my daughter went on, she's 6, was the Dumbo ride. It's literally like just crappy, right? So my impression was this.
Some guy's life work is in that ride.
Michael Kwan's father.
I make companies
Kwan's
hundreds of millions of dollars with design work, and they're like, well, we don't need any more. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, no, the biggest mistake we made, which we learned Tuesday, was we didn't get a stroller. Because I'm like, she's 6. And then I start seeing 14-year-old kids in strollers. And I'm like,
And drunk old men in strollers.
I don't care what happened in Ireland, man, bro. So yes. So Tuesday morning we go to Animal Kingdom and we get the stroller. Monday at Magic Kingdom, here's the two major things. We went to Animal Kingdom, we went to Epcot. Epcot, not as overpoweringly great as I thought it would be. Animal Kingdom was great. Hollywood Studios was great. But we had a stroller for that whole time period. And there are odds and ends stories throughout. But the two takeaways that I took on the marketing side, one, every room, the app is fantastic, but they clearly shift people around to where they want them to go. They tell you each ride how long the wait is, and that's horse crap. My wife pulled stuff out. I don't know how. She was fast passing the crap out of stuff. So I had one. The average wait was honestly, we had between 8 and 14 minutes. We had one that was about 50 minutes. But that's when we didn't fast pass it, and we realized that they said 5 minutes, and then you get there, and so the challenge that I saw was the characters, right? You get to meet the characters, whoever it is, the princesses, Mickey Mouse, whatever it is. At Magic Kingdom, you don't see any of them. You have to go to those places. I went to Sesame Street locally in New Jersey, great event. You always see the characters out. They don't do that there. They're smarter than me, so whatever the reason is. What I realized is when you would go wait for any of the characters, you would be in a room. Some people were there, especially if you weren't fast passing, for an hour and a half. And you would be in a room that looked like a hotel lobby with to make you go through the lines, I forget the phrase, but they made it so you could zigzag in a line. Not one entertainment in there. No TV, no guy or girl making the balloon animals.
Even in like Great Adventure, I think they've made the lines a little more interesting.
Like we were sitting there,
you're in Gotham, and yeah.
Well, the Star Wars one, you would go through a little bit of an alleyway, and it was Star Wars driven, but it was still and there were some places that had a little bit, but I was blown away. I'm like, this is supposed to be, what I've heard was this is the most magical place in the world. And I'm saying to myself, after Disney, I'm saying you need to get a passport and go figure out the world. Because this is not, it's wonderful, it really is. But for the price point,
Yeah.
you could spend, I'm not saying I did, but you could spend easily for 8 days, you could, I didn't say I did, 10 grand. For me, 10 grand to do that, and then you're sitting in a room with up to 100 kids under 5 years old for an hour. Like, you would think, like, roll out a clown. Like, you can't, right? Like, you do something like that. So that, overall, that was where I was let down. It's a wonderful experience. We had a great time. For the price point, no chance. Like, I would go for 2 to 3 days, know where I'm gonna go maybe, but overall, Ireland's way better for the cost.
Hey, yeah, exactly. Yeah, spend that kind of money. I mean, I went on a Groupon. I could have done 3 trips for the price that you probably did.
You go with a group? Oh, group.
Yeah, definitely. Travel outside of the country. I mean, yeah, Disney's Disney. I guess you gotta do it once, right?
I don't think you have to do it once, but apparently I do.
I'll get Disney characters at the market just for you.
I was gonna say,
yeah. To walk
You
around.
want the most magical place on earth.
I'm gonna turn this around for you. Yeah.
I used to go to Salem every year for Halloween, and we were in a haunted house with my wife before we got married, and a guy jumps out, and I punched him right in the stomach, just out of reaction.
Yeah,
She still tells that story.
It was a woman. She was dressed out, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but if you lay Mickey Mouse out in the middle of the market, I mean, that's still an activity.
I'll get applause for 50% of the crowd. But I forgot the other note. So the marketing part, that just threw me off because it wasn't like you just go see one character. Like there's 20 characters at each park. So it threw me off that part of it. I keep saying to myself that they're doing it for a reason. They're too smart not to, because the marketing outside of Disney, just the way they do it, they're second to none. Or first, whatever the phrase is. It's fantastic.
Why do they get people to spend their money?
I guess. I think, yeah, I guess. I mean, but I saw a lot of kids that were there that were like 3 years old, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
Wasting that kind of money on a 3-year-old.
Well, maybe they have I tried being like, understanding. Maybe they have the township, not townshare, when they buy a house. Timeshare. A timeshare. And you can make it economical, maybe they're local, stuff like that, but like I said,
this kind of locals.
I don't judge, but like there's like 3-4-year-olds with you, like what do you?
Wait till yeah.
Well, the parents love it, clearly, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's like a headache. Mine was 6. She's 6 now, still.
She was 6.
She was 6.
She's no longer. We left her there.
She downgraded. Turned into a 2-year-old like half the time. And it was a great age. So.
Cool.
That's Disney. Yeah. I'll be sure not to go.
No. I really don't. Me and my family, we had a wonderful time. It's just. I always go back to like maybe the business side. I go to the price point of it. I'm like, you know. So, yeah. What else? You done? You done? You got more?
No, I'm good on business.
No.
I got my fill of Disney. I'm going to get Disney characters just for you.
I was gonna say, are you guys? So you did the holiday market. Are you guys doing any themes or anything like that?
Themes,
You know,
it's
like Halloween
like
or
yeah. Last year we
doing
did a little
characters or
impromptu
something like that for kids.
Halloween market because Halloween actually fell on a Wednesday last fall. So I got all the vendors to dress up, and I think the building did something. They did some kind of tour for kids that day, and a bunch of kids came in dressed up.
Yeah.
I had an awesome spot-on costume of Magnum PI from
nice.
from the show. Actually, it's funny. It came up in my. You guys can't. Well, I guess they can see this if I zoom in real fast. But this came up in my.
I did see this.
Feed.
I did see.
How
yes.
spot on is that? I
Yes.
mean, that's
Hey, Will, throw this up to the camera.
twin brothers right there, and that was my costume.
It's gonna be like half a bag.
It's on this bag. Hopefully,
Thanks, bro. Yeah, thanks. Hold on. Let me do a couple notes.
Yeah. But yeah, we want to. Now that I have Michelle and Pam working for me, it gives us more opportunity to come up with a lot of fun ideas and throw some themes together. Which we're definitely.
I think they already kind of do that stuff with the building, so if they can tie you guys into it, that'd be cool.
Yeah, actually, they reached out to us to bring in about 25 vendors for the Mardi Gras night, which was a lot of fun that they had here. What, like 2 months ago, I think, or a month ago?
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to all sorts of possibilities into bringing fun stuff to the market. A friend of mine, she just gave me the idea of there's supposed to be some circus school in Old Bridge. Do you guys know of any of this? Or some, I don't know if
Is
it's a
that Brookdale?
circus
Is that what
school.
you're
Or, yeah, that's where I came from.
Why he stayed an extra year for the circus school?
I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking about, or tightrope walking, the unicycle, so.
How long is the day? Is it
5 hours.
5 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. Because around, and it goes what? Is it 2 to 7?
1 to 6.
1 to 6.
Yeah, but you'll find a lot of vendors selling as early as noon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys keep starting. Originally it was at 2, right?
It was originally at 2. Yeah. And the reason we started the hours off that way is, the building wanted us to bring in, help try and bring in more people from the outside and we stay open till 6 to try and get people at the end of the day from the offices and then people, from the community at the end of the day. But there is a lot of foot traffic in during that lunch crowd. So I let the vendors unofficially sell early just to make as much money as they can.
Sure. And
Yeah.
because if you start at 12, then it gets overpacked, and the food places probably are like, well, you're taking so good back.
Well, a lot of the food that we have, it's more take-home foods or baked goods, so
Yeah.
I have to make sure not to step on anyone's toes. So we're pretty good about that. What else? I know a lot of people want us to have a market on the weekend here. A lot of people from the outside, why do you do this on Wednesdays? This is stupid. Those hours don't make sense. The idea was, hit.
For the people in the $1 million houses, it doesn't. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry guys. But to hit the audience in here, all the workers in here, and then also at the same time build it to where the community can come in. And I mean, during the middle of the week, middle of the day, a lot of people from the outside are able to make it in. Reason we are not doing anything on the weekend here yet is there's just most of the retail's not open here.
Yeah,
they're trying to work that out.
It will eventually.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
another
just too soon.
half a year.
Yeah.
Once the retail fills in, people start treating this more like a mall on the weekends. I think you'll get the.
It'll
Right
get
now,
to
it
that
doesn't
point,
make
but
sense.
yeah, we don't want to water down Wednesdays.
Yeah, and it would be just terrible for the vendors to go through the process of setting everything up and not see the foot traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
Your final notes, website, people can get in contact, vendors. stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys can go to any bellworksfresh.com, asburyfresh.com. It all goes to the same homepage. You can learn about all of our markets there, locations, times, what vendors are going to be there, and just, guys, support local.
All right.
Yeah.
Mike, closers, anything?
No, thanks for
Kevin?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Will?
Yeah.
He's like really, he reminds me of like the side character who, you think he's the right hand man, but he's really the guy that's in charge of everything.
That's right.
And this is
Watch
the
it
guy.
over,
that you do not mess with.
This is actually Will, that's Kevin. We just stayed in. Bellcast, episode 17, YouTube, everywhere else, Spotify, all that fun stuff. See you soon. Thanks, it's in the can. Yes, I stopped it.
Thanks, man.
Cool, thanks guys. Yeah. So how do you know Brett?
59, wow.
Through meetups and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
I remember